Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Schaff. I'm the director of giving at the Barber National Institute and the director of the Barber Beast on the Bay. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. We cannot do it without the more than 200 volunteers who help us coordinate on the day of the event. So we really appreciate that you've stepped up to assist us. We're looking forward to Saturday, September 11th. It looks like the weather is going to be perfect. So there's just a couple of things that we want to go over to make the day run smoothly. The first thing that I would say to you is make sure that you check out our website, barberbeast.org. There you will find the volunteer packet for your review. We decided that having it out on our website just makes it easy for everyone to access, and there really is some good information that I think everyone will want to take note of. I'm going to remind you that the day is Saturday, September 11th. When you signed up, you will also, you've signed up for a particular time or a particular shift. The first wave does go off at 8:30, but we have volunteers who will be showing up sometimes as early as 6:30 in the morning. So please make sure that you know where you're headed and what time, and that you arrive in a timely fashion. The other thing that I wanted to remind you, in the absence of an in-person volunteer meeting, we're encouraging all of you to come to Packet Pickup to pick up your volunteer t-shirt. Packet Pickup will be at the Barber National Institute on Wednesday and Thursday, Saturday, September 8th and 9th from 4 until 7. We hope, weather permitting, that will be outside. We'll be under some tents in front of the Barber National Institute. You'll be easily able to see us, and we'd ask you to stop there during that time from 4 to 7 on September 8th and 9th to pick up your volunteer shirt. Again, I want to thank you for being a part of this event. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you have any questions about volunteering for the Beast on the Bay. Let's get into it and review some of the details of the event. Today, we're going to walk through the duties and responsibilities of the volunteers for the Barber Beast on the Bay. Your job is really very simple. Your primary responsibility is to cheer on the over 1,000 participants who have come out to do the 10-mile, 30-obstacle course. They've come from many different states to be here today, and we want to show them what Erie and the Barber National Institute is all about. So please make sure you're on your feet and you're cheering and encouraging every last participant to get across that finish line. So let's get started. When you check in to volunteer on Saturday, September 11th, there are two choices you're going to have to make. If you are going to Presque Isle, which means that you're an obstacle monitor, you're working a hydration or nutrition station, or you're volunteering at the start line, you need to stop at the overflow parking lot, which is just below the Tom Ridge Environmental Center. There, you'll be given a course map and some information about where to meet your course captain. You'll also be given some water and a snack. Please make sure that you check in about an hour before your shift starts. It takes that long to get yourself down to the course and find your positioning. So please make sure that you allow plenty of time. If you don't check in, we assume that you didn't show up, and then we may need to deploy volunteers to fill in your spot. So it really is important that you check in at that overflow parking lot before you go down to Presque Isle. Now, if you're a volunteer at Waldameer, which means that you're working registration, you're working bag check, you're working the finish line, you're helping with parking, or you're doing volunteer check-in, please come to Waldameer and check in at the pavilion inside the Waldameer Park. There's a check-in there, you'll see the signage, and in this case, you really only need to come about 30 minutes in advance. In both cases, though, whether you're volunteering in Waldameer or you're volunteering out at the course, it really is important that you stop and check in. So please don't forget to do that, and make sure that you give yourself plenty of time. If you're headed out to the course on Presque Isle, we've developed meeting areas for you so that you can find your course captain and get your assignment. This means that just because you worked at an obstacle in 2019 doesn't mean you'll be on that same obstacle. Your course captain will tell you which obstacle that you need to be at. We've looked at each obstacle based on their complexity and determined how many volunteers need to be at each obstacle. So it really is important that you meet with your course captain. If you're at the start line, for example, your meeting area is going to be at Beach 10. If you're in Zone D, though, you go to the Sarah's Restaurant parking lot. There you'll meet your course captain, and he will tell you where to report, which obstacle, which hydration, which nutrition station. So it really is helpful to get to those meeting areas about 30 minutes in advance so that you can find your assignment quickly. If at any time in the next few days, or even the day of the event, you are unable to be there due to some emergency, please make sure that you call Lori Johnson. She will have her cell phone with her, and it will help us to know how to deploy volunteers if you're not able to be there. Having said that, please know that we are counting on you to be there. It takes a lot of people to pull this event off, and we really do count on each of you. So we hope that you can be there, but if for some reason you are not able, please call Lori and let her know. The day of the event, this goes on rain or shine, and believe me, we have had rain. Please make sure that you plan accordingly. Dress for the weather. It looks to us, based on what we're seeing now for the weather, it's going to be a beautiful sunshiny day, low to mid 70s. It should be a joy to be out there working on Saturday. But if weather calls for rain, please make sure that you pack something to wear. If you need sunscreen, make sure that you bring it. If you need bug spray, make sure that you bring it. Hand sanitizer, make sure that you bring it. It helps to have a little bag of maybe some snacks or some water as well if you think that you're going to get hungry while you're out there. When you check in, we'll make sure that you have a bottle of water. We'll also make sure that you have a snack. And the course captains will have some water on their side-by-sides or their ATVs. We're not able to distribute it to everybody, but it's there for an emergency. But we do ask you that if you can bring your own, we certainly would appreciate it. Some of you may also want to bring a chair to sit in if you're going to be out on the beach. It might be helpful to have a chair so that as you're waiting for waves of participants to come through, you can have a seat. Some people bring a book, whatever you need to make sure that you're comfortable that day. Don't forget to ask questions. If you're not sure what to do, don't be afraid to flag down somebody who is considered event staff and ask any necessary questions you might have. The event staff will have black t-shirts on. They'll say event staff on the back. Please stop any one of them. If they don't know the answers, they'll call me, they'll call someone else, and they'll get the answers that they need for you. So for those volunteers who are headed out to Presque Isle State Park, you're volunteering in one of our zones. There are a number of jobs that you might be given while you're out there. So let's take a look for those of you who are going out to Presque Isle at the course map. You may notice that we have divided the map into zones. You will know which zone you've been assigned to. You may not know which obstacle, but you will know which zone you've been assigned to. It's important to become familiar with your zone. Know which obstacles are in your zone. Know where the restrooms are in your zone. Know if you have a nutrition or hydration station in your zone. Most importantly, know where the first aid stands are in your zone. St. Vincent Health Center is out across the course in those first aid stands helping us. It's really important that you are familiar with your zone and know where they are. In the event that someone is injured, there are a couple of things that you can do. First thing that I would ask you to do is call your course captain, which is why you have their cell phones. Your course captains will come. If they need to transport the individual, they will do that. However, if you have a first aid station close by, you can also just go and get help. Sometimes that's the quickest and easiest thing to do. You'll also note that you may have cheer zones in your zone. Those are groups of teams of people who are organized together. They're competing for prize money to cheer participants on. So it is helpful that you're familiar with the map and familiar with which obstacles are in your zone. The other thing that we've tried to do this year is put directions for each obstacle on the back of each obstacle sign. So when you approach an obstacle, you'll see a sign in the sand. It'll have the obstacle's name and a sponsor. On the back of that sign, you will find directions for what participants have to do to complete that obstacle. This is really important. So often, participants will approach the obstacle and they'll kind of shrug their shoulders. They don't know what to do, and they're looking to you for guidance. So please make sure that you become familiar with the directions for those obstacles. The other thing that you can do is shout direction. If you have learned that it's easier if participants put their feet here or there to get over an obstacle, there's nothing wrong with yelling that out to help the participants as they go through. The other thing we want you to be aware of while you're out on the course are those folks in the elite wave. Elite participants will all have a red dot on their bib, and they will be starting the event at 8:30. They'll be coming through first. These are serious, hardcore athletes who are competing for a prize. In order to be eligible for that prize, they have to complete every single obstacle. They don't get options like doing sit-ups or burpees or anything like that. They have to complete the obstacle. Everyone at your obstacle, or one person at each obstacle, will have a clipboard to take note of anyone who does not complete an obstacle in that elite wave. It's really important to write down that bib number if someone doesn't complete an obstacle in that elite wave and give it to your course captain. We'll collect those at the finish line before 10 a.m. and make sure that anyone who is in running for a prize has completed every single obstacle. This is really important. It's something that we've had issues with in the past. We're trying to clean it up, and we're asking for your help in doing this. After those elite folks have gone through, everyone with a red dot on their bib has moved through your zone. It doesn't matter if people complete every obstacle. You may have some folks who say, I'm not even going to try that. That's okay. They can walk around the obstacles, no problem. But we do need to make sure everyone in the elite wave finish those obstacles. And as I've said before, make sure you're cheering, make sure you're having fun, make sure you're encouraging those participants. It can be a long day for them. And so your job is critical out there on Presque Isle. I just want to talk a little bit about the job descriptions. These will be in the volunteer packet that you will find on our website, barberbeast.org. I would encourage each of you to go to barberbeast.org, download our volunteer packet, and just become familiar with your job descriptions. For those of you who are at Waldameer, that would be bag drop. That also includes the finish line. It also includes volunteer check-in, parking. All of those directions are there. You will have a course captain. The one thing that I want to say about the finish line, really important that if you're volunteering at the finish line, you stay until the last participant crosses the finish line. Some years we've seen the last participant come up to the finish line and everybody has started to pack up and go home. Those are the folks who need you cheering them in more than anybody else. So it's really important that if you're working that second shift of volunteers for the finish line, that you stay until the end. And we'll let you know, we have people out there on the course monitoring, we'll let you know when that last person has finished the event. It also can be pretty emotional, so I would encourage you to stick around just to see that last person finish. The other thing that I'm going to say about the finish line, because of COVID this year, we're trying to institute some things that will keep us all a little bit safer. And so in the past, we have asked you to put the medal around each participant's neck. This year, because of COVID, we're going to ask you to hand the medal to each participant. Please cheer them on, please congratulate them, but we want you to stay safe and we want them to stay safe. So we're going to ask you to just pass that medal along with your hand. Only participants receive medals. In some years, families have joined participants at the finish line, and lots of well-meaning individuals have passed a medal off to a child. And while I appreciate the sentiment, what happens is that when subsequent participants cross the finish line, we have run out of medals for them. So we want to make sure that only those folks who are doing the event and participating get a medal. At the hydration and nutrition stations out on the course, we will ask that you take some safety measures by wearing plastic gloves, making sure that you are trying to keep your hands off of nutrition as much as you can. We'll have hand sanitizer there. We'll also ask you just to make sure that you clean up when you're done. We want to make sure that Presque Isle is as clean when we leave as it was when we arrived. The other thing that I wanted to say about participants is that you are representing Erie, you are representing the Barber National Institute. And so as best as you can, as much as you can, please make sure that you're smiling. Please make sure that you're upbeat and happy. Please make sure that the participants enjoy their experience with you as much as they do the obstacles. You are part of this event. So often in the surveys that participants do, participants comment on how helpful volunteers were or how enthusiastic the volunteers are. That really is an important part of the event. It speaks to who we are as a community, as a city of Erie, and it also speaks to who we are as the Barber National Institute. We want everyone to feel welcome and encouraged, and we ask you to play a role in all of that. For those of you who are at Waldameer, again, please make sure you need to be there probably earlier than anyone. We start at 6 or 6:30 getting set up for participants. The first bus will roll out at 7. So please make sure that if you're volunteering at Waldameer, you're on time. The other thing that I wanted to mention for those of you who are at Waldameer, we will be utilizing the EMTA shuttles again to take people out to the start line. EMTA requires masks on their buses. So if you are assisting or anyone asks you, a participant asks you about the shuttle, that is not our rule. That is something that EMTA is requiring. There will be masks on the shuttle for those folks who don't have one. But if they ride the shuttles, they will need to have a mask on. The last shuttle will go out, back out to Beach 10 at 3:30. We understand that some of our participants may not want to ride the shuttle. That's certainly appropriate this year. We're encouraging participants, if they don't want to ride the shuttle, they can drive their cars out there this year. That's a little bit of a change from what we've done in the past. And so at 3:30, the last shuttle will go out to take folks to their car. So again, people may stop and ask you questions as they see you walk through the parking lot with your volunteer t-shirt on. If you don't know the answer, please try to find someone in a Black Event Staff t-shirt so that we can help participants with any questions they might have. The other thing that I wanted to encourage everyone to do is stop up to the party at the finish line at the end of your shift. With your volunteer t-shirt and the bracelet you'll receive when you check in with your ID, you will be able to enjoy beer at the finish line, chat with the participants about their experience. It's a really good party atmosphere there. We'll have food trucks available, and so we would encourage you to stop by and just kind of take in all of the events of the day. It really is a very celebratory experience. we already kind of went over the obstacle monitor jobs. The other thing that I wanted to talk about for those of you who are out at Presque Isle, in the volunteer packet will be the names and phone numbers of your course captains. We do this because for those of you who are walking out to the course, which is out on the beach, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find your course captain and understand where you need to be. So if you can't find them, you've got their phone number. I would take this with you the day of so that you have it in the event that you need them. Other than that, I think we've covered everything for the day. I know there's a lot to think about, a lot to be aware of. We would ask you to just take a few minutes before you volunteer to review the volunteer packet. Make sure that you're arriving on time with even some time to spare. Make sure that those with you have a good time and make sure that our participants have a good time. Thank you so much for being a volunteer for the Barber Beast on the Bay. We're looking forward to a really good day. We're glad to be back after a year off. This event is critically important to us and our mission in making sure that our individuals are included in this event, but it also helps us to raise much needed funds. And so we thank you for being a part of all of that. We hope that you have a great day. Again, my name is Laura Schaff. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can email me or call me. We're here to help, and thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.